Your alarm didn't go off. You woke up on your own at 5 o'clock in the morning, heart already pounding. Something feels wrong. You grab your phone to check the time, and your banking app is already open. You don't remember opening it. The number on the screen doesn't make sense. You blink. You rub your eyes. You hold the phone closer to your face. $1 trillion. Not 1,000, not 1 million. 1 trillion sitting in your account like it has always been there. And then you see the message pinned at the top of the screen, blinking in red. This balance will expire in 24 hours. Unspent funds will be removed at 5 a.m. tomorrow. No transfers, no investments, no donations to financial instruments. Spend it or lose it. You sit up so fast you nearly fall off the bed. Your brain is trying to process this. You read the message again, then again. You screenshot it. You open a calculator. You stare at the number. It's real. It's sitting there. It's yours. And you have exactly 86,400 seconds to make it disappear. This is not a hypothetical. This is happening to you right now at 5:02 in the morning. So what do you actually do? Here's the truth no one talks about. Most people, when handed an infinite amount of money, completely freeze. Not because they don't want things, because the list is too big, because every option leads to 10 more options, and your brain isn't wired for this scale. $1 trillion is so far beyond normal human comprehension that your first reaction isn't joy, it's panic. But panic wastes time. And you have no time to waste. The rules are simple. You can't invest it. You can't donate it to financial instruments. You can't transfer it to other bank accounts to sit. You have to spend it, materially, on real things. Actual goods, physical objects, structures, experiences, purchases. The clock is ticking, so you make a decision. You start small. At 5:05 a.m., you open your phone and buy every single item in your Amazon cart. Everything you've been meaning to buy for months. The kitchen gadgets, the furniture, the electronics, the clothes. The book you bookmarked 6 months ago and never got around to. You spend $4,800 in 2 minutes without blinking. Then you realize you just spent 0.0000048% of your budget, and you're not even out of bed yet. You need a bigger strategy. You throw off the covers, pace to your kitchen, and start writing a list on the back of a takeout menu because your hands are shaking too hard to type. You write 3 columns: things you want, things the world needs that you can physically buy, things that are so expensive almost no one on earth has ever owned them. You fill the page in 4 minutes. At 5:20 a.m., the real spending begins. You call a private aviation broker. Yes, they answer this early. Yes, you buy a Gulfstream G700, the most expensive private jet in commercial production, for $78 million. It will be delivered later, but the paperwork is signed. You also buy a second one because why not? That's $156 million. You barely feel it. You go online and purchase every unit of a newly listed private island in the Maldives. $50 million. Done. Then you buy another one off the coast of New Zealand. $38 million. You now own 2 islands you've never visited. It's 5:47 a.m. You've spent just over $244 million. You still have $999.756 billion left. You feel the weight of that number like a physical object sitting on your chest. You start moving faster. You contact a super yacht broker. You order 5 of the largest privately commissioned yachts currently available, ranging from $200 million to $600 million each. You pick hull colors while still in your pajamas. You don't think about where you'll dock them. You spend $1.8 billion on boats before your coffee finishes brewing. At 6:15 a.m., you do something that surprises even you. You buy a hotel, not a room. The entire hotel. You find the most expensive available listing on a luxury commercial real estate platform and wire the full purchase price. $620 million for a 5-star resort in the Swiss Alps. Then you buy the one next door for $480 million. You now own 2 hotels in Switzerland. You have never been to Switzerland. By 7 a.m., you've spent approximately $3.5 billion. You still have $996.5 billion. And this is where your brain starts to truly break, because you realize something terrifying. Even buying the most expensive things you can think of You are barely making a dent. $1 billion sounds like a lot, and it is, but a trillion is 1,000 billions. You could spend $1 billion every single hour for the next 24 hours and still walk away with nothing to show for it. You'd run out of time before you ran out of money. So you change approach. At 7:30 a.m., you contact a fleet vehicle broker and buy every available Rolls-Royce Phantom on the global market. There are around 300 of them. Average price just over $500,000 each. You spend $150 million and own more Rolls-Royces than any individual human being in recorded history. You have nowhere to put them. You don't care. You buy a McLaren F1 for your living room. Not to drive, just to have. $20 million. At 8 a.m., you contact Sotheby's and Christie's simultaneously. You purchase 40 of the most expensive artworks currently available for private sale. A Basquiat, 2 early Picassos, a Warhol triptych, a Monet that hasn't been publicly seen in decades. You spend $1.2 billion on art in 45 minutes, and you don't fully understand what any of it looks like yet. By 9 a.m., you have spent roughly $6.8 billion. You have $993.2 billion remaining. You are starting to feel a specific kind of dread that no financial textbook has ever described. You widen the scope. You contact a satellite communications company and buy your own private satellite for $400 million. You buy naming rights to a newly constructed stadium for $800 million. You purchase a commercial office tower in Manhattan for $1.7 billion. Not because you need office space, but because it was available and the number was large. You buy the naming rights to a bridge in your city for $200 million. By 10:30 a.m., you've cracked $11 billion. Still less than 1.1% of your total. You sit down on the floor of your kitchen and stare at the ceiling. Here is the problem that no one who plays this game ever truly accounts for. Buying things takes time. Every large purchase requires phone calls, paperwork, verification, wire transfers, legal documentation. You can't just press a button and spend $100 billion. The infrastructure of money moves slower than the desire to spend it. You are now running 3 laptops, 2 phones, and you've hired an emergency team of brokers, lawyers, and personal assistants, all of whom you wired $1 million each just to show up at your door by 11 a.m. At noon, you make your biggest single purchase of the day. You buy a decommissioned aircraft carrier from a private maritime auction house. $3.2 billion. You don't know what you'll do with it. It doesn't matter. You own an aircraft carrier. You take a photo of the paperwork and send it to nobody because you haven't told anyone about this yet. By 1 p.m., you have spent $24 billion. You have $976 billion left. You are 8 hours in. You have 16 hours remaining. The math is not in your favor. You open every luxury retail website simultaneously. You buy entire collections. Every watch in a Patek Philippe catalog. Every piece of jewelry in a high-end vault. You spend $600 million on timepieces in an afternoon. You buy out 3 private jewelers completely. $1.1 billion on diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and things with names you can't pronounce. You purchase a professional sports team. One is available for private sale. $4.7 billion. Done. You buy the land surrounding it and commission a new stadium. $2.3 billion. The architects will start Monday. By 3 p.m., you are at $35 billion. $965 billion remains. And then, somewhere around 4 in the afternoon, something shifts in you. The panic is gone. The strategy is gone. You've moved past the Ferrari stage and the island stage and the yacht stage. Now you're operating in a different mental space entirely. You're not shopping anymore. You're making decisions with the calm, detached certainty of someone who no longer registers price tags as meaningful information. You buy a private mountain in Colorado. $180 million. You commission a custom-built compound to be constructed on it. $900 million. The builders will start in the spring. You buy the most expensive wristwatch ever made at private auction. $31 million. You put it on immediately even though it's slightly too big for your wrist. By 6 p.m., you have spent $52 billion. You have $948 billion left and 11 hours remaining. You start buying in bulk. You contact manufacturers directly. You order 10,000 units of the most expensive consumer laptop on the market. You order warehouse quantities of rare materials, hand-carved furniture, custom tile imported from Italy, gold inlaid fixtures for bathrooms in buildings you don't own yet. You buy a private airport, $700 million. You buy the runway systems separately because they were listed differently. By 9 p.m., you have pushed past $120 billion. Progress, but the number still laughs at you. It's 11 p.m. You are exhausted in a way that money cannot fix. You have a team of 12 people working through the night on your behalf, executing purchases while you review summaries every 20 minutes. You've spent $200 billion. You have $800 billion left and 6 hours remaining. You do the math. You need to spend $133 billion per hour for the next 6 hours to hit zero. You buy real estate. Every available commercial and residential listing your team can find globally in the next 60 minutes. You spend $40 billion. You buy a fleet of cargo ships, 12 of them, $1.8 billion total. You commission the construction of a private skyscraper in Dubai, $5 billion. You purchase a controlling stake in 2 professional racing teams, the cars, the garages, the equipment, everything tangible. $2.4 billion. At 2 a.m., you have $680 billion remaining and 3 hours left. You stop thinking about what you want. You start thinking about what is simply large and available and real. You buy raw land, hundreds of thousands of acres across 4 continents. You buy commercial mining rights to physical land. You buy the most expensive residential property ever listed in London, $350 million. Then the one in Monaco, $420 million. Then one in Hong Kong, $280 million. At 4:30 a.m., 30 minutes before expiration, you have $94 billion left. You spend the final half hour in a blur your team will have to reconstruct from receipts. More aircraft, more waterfront land, more art, an entire collection of rare vintage cars that fills 3 warehouses, a private submarine for $30 million, meteorite fragments from 3 different auctions totaling $80 million, the contents of a rare book vault, a collection of historic military aircraft, a private rocket launch scheduled for next year, $150 million. Physical gold as much as any vault in the world will release within the hour. At 4:59 a.m., the account reads 0. You sit in silence for a long time. Then your phone buzzes. It's your banking app. Your regular balance is back. $847, the usual. And here is the strangest part of all. You feel completely normal. Not happy, not sad, just quiet. Because somewhere in the last 24 hours, you learned something that no amount of money could have taught you any other way. Spending $1 trillion doesn't make you feel rich. It makes you feel how unimaginably large $1 trillion actually is, and how small every single thing you can hold in your hands will always be compared to that number. You set your phone down, you close your eyes, the sun is just starting to come up, you lie down in the bed, knowing you are the richest man in the world. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want more similar content like this.